as you can see, there's a third member hanging there. The end of last season, my buddy Butch, his rear end locked up. So, they pulled the axles, got it home, and he had dropped it out of the truck there the day before I showed up with the Mini to pick it, to get it inside the shop. And the bearings had went out on one side of it. He's going to end up probably rebuilding it. He's going to have to find a new gear set because they got trashed. And hopefully we'll get him back in the game here before road restrictions are off and all that good stuff, so that he can get hauling some dirt, some dirty dirt. Alright, so here we are. It's cold out. It's supposed to help Butch lift the third member in his truck. He ended up getting a rebuilt one, and that didn't work out. It's so cold his truck won't start, and it's so cold like the cranking the Mini over, drain the batteries on the Mini. So I had to tear that all apart, and just to get to the battery, I had to tear like the side paneling off. So now I'm trying to jump start it and just get it so that I didn't have the batteries rode way down and they freeze or something, because that would be a big bummer. So I'm gonna take a little action shot here of what's going on, and yeah. So I got the panel off, I got the truck charging up the battery, and we're gonna try to get it to start. Alright, she lit up. Woo-hoo! Here, got the third member rebuilt, all that good stuff. Butch got it the other day. We couldn't do it because it was too cold, and we're gonna put her in the rear end here. So hopefully this all goes smooth. He just got done cleaning the axle housing out and stuff, so bring a bunch of crud in there. And we'll get this done, and hopefully he can kind of get his truck closer to being back on the road. So, what do we got going on today? Well, I'll tell you what. Went outside. Whoops. Woo-hoo. Watch out. She's just falling apart. But went outside, I'm draining this fuel tank as much as I can to the point where I think I can lift it now. And what we're doing here is we're swapping out this fuel tank for this. You can't really see it's a fuel tank, but this is a fuel tank. This fuel tank is off of a Freightliner M2. Freightliner owns Western Star, vice versa sort of deal, so some stuff kind of interchanges, but they're not going to tell you that. This shouldn't be that hard. They couldn't even tell me like a different tank or like help me get a tank this size for this truck, so I just had to go off of measurements, and this is pretty close. It's going to be taller, but as far as the depth and everything's the same, so I just need either a longer T-bolt for my straps, or I need to lengthen my straps. Either way, we'll figure it out. the sending unit, they couldn't tell me if the sending unit was the same. They are the same, at least they look the same. We'll see once we get that far, but worst case scenario, I have to buy the sending unit for this tank and splice it into the wiring for this one. So not that big a deal. As far as like the return and sending line for the fuel, I'm not quite that far into it yet, so I don't know if I'm gonna have to get like a step down adapter or something for the fuel lines, vice versa, etc. Kind of hoping that they just kind of go together and it all works out. Otherwise, it's not that big a deal. I think they kind of use like an airline or like a compression style fitting for the fuel lines. So I should be able to source them even if I have to get different size ones to fit the bungs on the tank. The fuel cap's also the same, so I can just swap the fuel cap over. So the main reason that we're doing this is weight loss, obviously. It's going to be kind of a bummer not having the fuel capacity. I don't know what this truck gets for fuel mileage. I don't think it's anywhere near as good as my Peterbilt got. So hopefully having this smaller 55 gallon tank or whatever doesn't bite me in the bottom too hard. But, you know, it's serving some other purposes. That tank's only going to be to like here. Whereas this one goes way down here, it's going to make room for a potential tag axle, potentially moving these down to get a longer box. So this, in the long run, was just kind of something that I thought would be a good idea. It's going to save us hopefully 300 to 600 pounds. You know, I'm not quite exactly sure between the fuel, the tank, and these extra mounts for this long tank. But so where I'm at is I'm going to pull the fuel lines and I'm going to pull this tank out. I'll pull the other strap out and kind of get that all figured out, and I'll just kind of go from there. Alright, so I'm out here working on T32, Little Miss Piggy. You know what I'm saying? Alright, so anyways, so there was a large metal plate behind this mount. That's gone, got all them bolts out. And as you can see, fuel tank's on the ground, the old one. We're trying to get fitment on the new one. It's a little bit snugger than what I kind of thought it was going to be, but that's alright. I just got to move some stuff around. There was a computer mounted there, so I had to kind of notch the mount on the frame out. It's not part of the frame, it's a separate, like an angle iron that's bolted to it. Notched it out so that I could kind of tip it up so that the tank would fit in here without, rubbing or whatever. So I got that. And then I'll have to figure out the straps. I think I got a decent idea of how to go about making the straps. But it's coming along, not very fast, but I am getting somewhere on it. I mean, you can see there's all kinds of room here that wasn't here before. Hopefully this helps us with our weight, right? So we'll see where we're at.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it looks nice though.
Pretty big change.
Yep, so we got our 55 gallon tank on here, or 55 I think is what it was designed for, but It actually only technically holds 52 because of the capacities of the fuel tank on the truck. But we got it up here, got the straps on, got the steps back on.
I can't wait to see you try to get in and out.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm gonna have probably abs by the end of the summer climbing in and out of this boy, working the core. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Yeah. But we got that done. Got the fuel lines hooked back up, and the center unit's in there. It did transfer over from that tank, so everything's good.
Does it actually start?
I gotta run uptown and get more fuel, but it'll
Oh.
start.
Oh, okay.
It'll start.
Sorry, didn't mean to ask you while recording.
But hopefully it starts. But either way, yeah, we got our straps on there. This tank was a couple inches taller, so this computer box had to get cut and moved up. And that's kind of what I had to change. But otherwise, everything else, all the fittings, all that, like plugs, everything, went right into this tank, so it didn't transfer over. I think I mentioned it before, but this is a Freightliner M2 tank. And at this point, I'm pretty sure Freightliner owns Western Star, or they're owned by the same carrying company, Daimler maybe, something like that. So stuff all.
Don't quote him on that.
Yeah. But either way, you know, even the fuel cap transferred over.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's a big change, so hopefully it cuts some weight.
Well, it should.
A little bit anyway.
It should be,
This thing is a frickin' hog.
like I said before, 300 to 600 pounds. That's all going to depend on how much that tank weighed compared to this tank,
Yeah.
how much like fuel we have in the tank. But we also lost these two mounts on the frame as well.
Yeah.
You could see that, and that plate that I was talking about. I have to bolt this back up. And once I bolt it up, I have to narrow this whole thing in order for it to, you know, suck back into the frame. So I'm going to put bolts on it. I'll probably put a jack underneath here, holding it up once I get the bolts in. And then I'll take my torch, I'll raise the bed, and I'll cut that out. And then I'll cut out a certain amount to where I can suck it back in, and then I will not necessarily weld it back to itself, but I might just run some plates across. Because
Oh my gosh. Do you need something to drink? You literally are clearing your throat every 3 seconds.
yeah, well, I don't feel good. So
You what?
I don't feel good.
Oh.
I'm mucus.
I'm gonna keep that in.
But it'll be a temporary deal because I still have plates on the other side that also still need to get. I have to unbolt everything on the other side to drop that big plate because there's one of those big plates on each side of the truck.
Yeah.
And just that plate, I think, weighs 60 to 80 pounds.
Hi, Ham. What'd you do on the truck? Were you helping? Good job. Oh, he's busy. He said, can't talk, gotta go. He's booked and busy. Busy ham. Not busy man, busy ham.
So either way, that's where we're at, right?
All right, good job.
We,
You should probably go take some, like, Dayquil or something. All right.
by
Bye.